How do you do tree pose and toe stand? Another hot yoga tutorial, two postures that definitely go together. In the hot yoga world, in the Bikram world, in the Barkan world, let's explore. Hi everyone, if you're new to the channel, my name is Jimmy Barkan. I've been teaching hot yoga and these two poses since 1981. So we're going to go into the studio for this tutorial. But before we do that, I want to first talk about the Sanskrit. Sanskrit for the tree pose. Tree pose in Sanskrit, or tree in Sanskrit, is vriksha. Vriksha. Now you may have heard in the hot yoga world, especially in the Bikram world, they call the tree pose TADASANA. It's not necessarily inaccurate. Let me explain. When you're standing tall with your arms by your side, it's been nicknamed TADASANA. I'll even say it every now and then. It's when you bring your hands to your heart center, the hands form the peak of the mountain, and therefore this is TADASANA. This, with your arms by your side, is samastitihi, hands to your heart, TADASANA. So now, if you've got your hands to your heart in TADASANA, or your foot's up in tree pose and your hands are in TADASANA, it's still TADASANA. The mistake I believe that the Bikram people make is they say tree pose TADASANA, opposed to saying mountain pose TADASANA, because mountain is the Tada. The tree is the Vriksha. So if you're going to say tree pose, VRIKSHASANA. Now there's no Sanskrit for toe. So they say Padangustasana. Let me break it down. Pada is foot or leg, in this case foot. And ANGUST is limb. We know ANGUST or Ang is limb from ASHTANGA, which is Asht, 8, Ang limb, the 8-limb path. Or Trianga in the Barkan method vinyasa. We do a 3-legged chaturanga, or chaturanga, with chaturs, 4, Ang is limb. So ANGUST and Pada, the limbs of the foot, Padangustasana. If we said ASHTANGA, that would be fingers, it would be the limbs of the hand. So Padangustasana, toe stand. Sanskrit lesson is over. If you're enjoying this content, hit that like button. We're going to now head into the studio with Danielle. She's a recent graduate from the Barkan Method teacher training programs. And by the way, if you're interested in becoming a hot yoga teacher, there are links in the description below. So let's head into the studio. Here we go. So we're going to look at the tree pose first, and we're going to look at the first extreme modification with the wonderful assistant Danielle. She's going to put her left foot in the inside of her calf muscle. The knee then worked its way out to the left and back. Remember, we're softening the hip. Now that's an extreme modification. The next modification, she's going to bring her foot up into her thigh. Inside again, the knee's going to work its way out and back. Never the knee. So it's either the calf muscle or the thigh. If you've got more range of motion, you're better off going up to the thigh. Once again, a lateral rotation of that hip. We're softening the hip, and that's what's going to help the knee. The knee's going to follow suit. Now I'm going to have Danielle switch sides. I'll show you the next modification. You're going to bring your right foot up to the inside part of your thigh, and if you find you can't bring both hands up to your heart because the foot keeps sliding down, hold on to the foot from underneath. From underneath. That's going to allow for that external rotation, that lateral rotation, for the hip to soften. Now, another thing you can do is you can bend your standing leg just a little bit, and that'll allow the foot to, like a little shelf, to stay up on your thigh. And then you can bring both hands up there. And you're going to feel a real big difference on that modification. Now I'm going to have Danielle relax for a second. And I want you to look. Now we don't need to modify anymore. What we want to do, we want to bring the heel on the inside of the thigh. Because a lot of people do, one of the big mistakes I see a lot of people make, especially if you've got really flexible hips, is they bring the right foot up. Go ahead, Danielle. All the way up to as high as they can over to the left. And then they let the knee come down. And you can see this is actually causing a restriction in that lateral rotation of the hip. So we want the heel to come on the inside, right underneath the navel. So you're not going to get the foot up quite as high. Then the knee's going to go out to the right more and back as the pelvic area comes under. And that's an opposite direction. Now I'm going to have Danielle relax, and we're going to do a side angle so you can see from the side, because we want 2 knees from the side in the same line. So I'll have her bring her left foot up. So she brings her left foot up. Actually, let's do the mistake again. Let's get that leg all the way up to the right, all the way over. And now you can see the restriction from the side angle. That knee can't really come out as far as it needs to because the hip is no longer externally rotating. So she's going to take her foot to the inside, and now look what happens. Her knee's going to come out more this way, back. As the left buttock cheek turns under, the hip comes forward, and that's the opposite direction. But you can see two knees together from the side. Now I'm going to have Danielle come out of it, face back to the front again. So bring your right foot up. Heel, or just review, underneath the navel. The knee's going to come out a little bit to the right and back. Tailbone under, standing nice and tall. Bring your hands forming the TADASANA, the mountain, in VRIKSHASANA, tree pose. Now we're going to look at the modification for toe stand. There isn't any. If you have a knee issue, which I said before in the intro, which is probably because your hips are tight, don't do the toe stand. You're going to do tree pose instead and open up that hip. So let's look at the first way of getting down in toe stand. This is, of course, if your knees are healthy. So Danielle's going to bring her left foot up. And one way you can do is keep your right leg straight, touch your hand to the mat with that leg straight, and do a little head to knee stretch, a little hamstring stretch, and then sit down on your heel. Now, your heel is going to come over to the other cheek. So you're just hovering over the other cheek. As you get more advanced, you're actually not even going to sit in the heel, like third part awkward pose. You're just going to hover. But now your heel can come to the other side of the cheek. Now I'm going to have Danielle come up. And look how she comes up. She puts her hands on the floor, and with support, she bends her knee and lifts up. Now the second way of coming down is keeping that right leg bent. So she's going to bend her knee, touch her hands to the mat, and then sit on the heel. Remember, the heel goes to the other cheek. My teacher would say the other butt. And I'd say, no, Bikram, one butt, two cheeks. That's why he misses me so much, because nobody talks to him that way. So whenever way you get down, we're going to start. You're going to find your drishti one spot on the floor in front of you. Bring if you're doing this side, your left hand up first. See that knee sticking out, so it's easier to bring the right hand up second. So bring your left hand up first to the heart. And you want to do it right away. This is the trick. Most people at this point think, where's my balance? Where's my balance? Get your hand up sooner, but slowly, and then the right hand comes up. And there it is. Once you get your balance, then look in the front mirror and check out your symmetry. And once you're in the final position, it's all about symmetry. We want the shoulders parallel, knees parallel, hips parallel, all on that parallel line. And then eventually you come up the same way, no hands, and that is the toe stand. Now, as you can see, Danielle has a really great toe stand, and she can go down without using her hands. Not quite ready to come up yet. It takes a lot of core strength, leg strength. Now, I got a cool clip for you. 1985, Bikram would come to my studio and stay at my house from like 1984 all the way to like the mid-1990s. And I'd go to his house too. We'd go back and forth. But he would teach classes. He would do lectures. So here he is teaching an advanced class to me and my students. And look at this clip. He's going down and up in the toe stand without using his hands. He's keeping his hands close to his chest. That's the hard part. You don't want to bring your hands out in front. A lot of people use that for momentum, and it's good to do it first. But the advance is keeping him by the heart. How cool is that? And that's our episode for today. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, hit that notification bell, smash the like button, and any comments you have. You're struggling with these two poses. Remember, if you have a knee issue, do not do the toe stand. And I will see you at the next video. Bye, everyone.